I mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your seat aisle.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP? Or, like, we got the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and, like, stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher, like, been a part of, like, 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Sorry I'm a little late, boys. At the spring game, obviously, as you can see. A couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's fit. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show,
And
come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right.
Big day. Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Welcome in to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, right on time here on this Thursday morning, brought to you daily by Click Here Digital on the campus of Click Here Digital, and daily brought to you by RMB Builders. Shout out to Rhett and the crew over at RMB Builders. You can find them online at rmb-builders.com, or you can simply just search on Instagram, RMB Builders, and check out all the quality work, new houses, custom design homes. They can build you a brand new home. They can also help you restructure what you're living in right now, or the reconstruction. Get in touch with them. Tell Rhett that you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. rmb-builders.com, rmb-builders.com, and always on Instagram at rmbbuilders.com. Big show coming up for you today. Of course, our phone line brought to you by our friends over at Metropolitan Health Group, formerly Metropolitan Health Group and now Southern Regional Medical Center. Real doctors, real solutions. Jason Ramazan, BJ, Charlie Harvey, and the entire crew over at Southern Regional Medical Center. Always appreciate them. Both of our guests today in studio is Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, will be by here at 8:15. And then Shea Dixon of On 3 will be here at 7:30 this morning, 8:30 this morning, as we will talk to Shea Dixon for the last 30 minutes of the show. get his insight on LSU, Florida State, get his thoughts on that, look ahead to LSU Grambling, and then get some recruiting news here for LSU. Obviously, recruiting is something that we're paying attention to with some of the struggles in Game 1 coming out for LSU earlier this week. We'll talk all about it as we begin to preview Grambling. It's also the start to the NFL season tonight as the NFL gets underway officially. Another year as Detroit and Kansas City take center stage. The Kansas City Chiefs, of course, the defending Super Bowl champs, as this is a ritual within the NFL. As the reigning champs open up the season on Thursday nights, they are able to hang the banner at their home field. And tonight, Detroit with Man Campbell will be in. It'll be our first sight at Jahmyr Gibbs, which, by the way, in Vegas, Jahmyr Gibbs, leading candidate and leading money on Rookie of the Year going into the season. Lloyd is here. Stewie is here.
Come on, man.
On this
football today.
On this Thursday morning.
No Travis Kelce for the Chiefs tonight.
Ooh, big story.
Hyperextended his knee.
Wow.
This was like earlier in the week.
Yeah, nobody would take him with the 5th overall pick in a fantasy draft. Certainly not in this room.
I would.
Lloyd, did you do that?
I did do that.
Damn. Got to take him off the roster this week.
You have Brian Poley your general manager?
that's all who was left.
It's Bill.
Who's making the picks over there? Poley?
That was me. I was busy.
He had to
at
call
the time.
Bill.
Sure.
I was busy.
Rolling one up?
I was packing up.
Hit that like
Damn
button.
thing won't
share
turn.
button. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Kim Mulkey getting paid. Another decade deal being handed out over here in Tiger Town as LSU women's basketball coach. Kim Mulkey becomes the highest paid, will become the highest paid women's basketball coach in the country as she is set to ink a $32 million deal over the next 10 years as ESPN approved this. This will be approved by LSU's Board of Governors tomorrow, as now Mulkey becomes the highest paid coach in women's college basketball history with the new deal. So good news for Coach Mulkey. We've got a text into her. Hopefully we can get her on the show at some point, either today or tomorrow. I don't think she'd talk about it until the Board of Governors approve it tomorrow over at LSU. Who knows, though?
I can see her putting the squeeze on them.
Right, absolutely.
Hell, I could have gotten more now.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure they're going to have to approve it tomorrow.
What else they doing?
But congratulations to her, right? We'll talk about these 10-year deals because I think a couple of years ago, this was taboo in sports, really. I mean, when you talked about life of contracts, especially from the organization side, and we saw this more in professional sports than we do in college sports, but you would always see the organization try to limit the years, right? They didn't want to get locked into some long-term deal that had them strapped, financially, really more than anything, for an extended amount of time. I mean, we all know about the Bobby Bonilla deal, right? Where, he's
Bobby B Day.
Yeah, he gets paid for 35 years by the New York Mets. He gets $1 million a year.
$1 million a year in the mailbox. It used to go from walking to the mailbox to, I'm sure, maybe a scooter. Now it's just a full-blown, get in the car and go to the mailbox.
Absolutely.
This thing's getting paid for right now.
Probably sending his kids.
Absolutely,
son,
man.
Go outside, grab that check.
Grab that check if you don't mind. Put the trailer on the golf cart and put the check in the back.
Dad, why do you like the mail so much? Oh, you'll see, son.
Yeah, right.
Why is the Brinks truck?
Learn how to hit a curveball, son. I'll show you.
And you know who else still has a deal like that? It's King Griffey Jr.
That's right.
He's the third highest paid.
Was it the Reds?
Yeah, third highest paid player on the Reds today.
Absolutely.
Smart man.
Baseball's a beautiful sport financially.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it odd for what LSU is doing with the 10-year deals. They're going after that model.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, how many times did you hear in sports on limiting the years? And now, really kind of Woodward's been the guy. Speaking of the devil, here's the queen right here.
New phone.
How are
it
you?
is. Yeah.
Not as good as you.
What's next?
Number one player in the country.
She got 2 of them. I think she's zeroing in on 2 5-stars.
This is easy.
I think she's coming on
Coach,
campus.
I lingered over there the other day and watched them practice.
Cool.
Might be better than last year for sure. And Michaela Williams wasn't practicing.
Woo! Velez,
Yeah.
Angelica,
Yeah.
Velez. point guard out of
True
Tennessee.
point guard.
Coach. Let me tell you, they got one in her. I mean, she is a dog. I mean, like a competitor. And now, like, Van Lith is back. Some of them were playing like 3-on-3.
Michaela Williams was
Michaela
playing
Williams,
3-on-3
Van
last
Lith.
week.
I'm telling you, LSU women's basketball is going. I mean, I'm not telling anybody that
Something that they don't know, really.
They don't know, but I mean, just to see it in person for the first time, like watch them play pickup, they are. They're way better than I thought they were going to be. Like you know what I mean? Like I expect them to go undefeated and win the national championship. No pressure, coach. Yes. But I mean, like you go watch them play, and anybody that can match up with that team is going. It's going to. They're coming at you in waves. They're so deep. Like, I mean, big girl from DePaul is a stud.
Anissa Morrow.
I mean, Morrow, she will pull you out from the rim, and now you've got Angel on the block by herself against, because you're going to have to put your best defender on Morrow, your best block defender on Morrow, because she's so versatile where she'll step outside, and if you don't come guard her, like she'll knock it down. She's the best mid-range shooter on LSU's campus.
Wow.
Like, I'm telling you, she
women's?
will knock men's and women's.
Jeez.
Give me a mid-range. Once you see her mid-range game, like the mid-range basketball game is a lost art.
Yeah, it is.
Right? I mean, like, who's the last player we saw with like a true mid-range game? Kobe?
I was about to say Kobe.
I mean, like.
Maybe KD a little bit.
Maybe KD.
Kyrie a little bit too.
I mean, KD plays, he's extended. I mean, you know, like he plays way away from the rim. I'm
Christopher
talking about like a 15
Paul.
to 18 footer. Chris Paul's a good one.
Yeah, Chris Paul.
Like if you don't come out and guard this 15 footer, I'll just sit down. I'll just sit here and I'll beat you. Like I'll beat you from here. Morrow is that player. Like if you don't get a hand in her face, if you don't defend her outside the block, like she'll just plant her feet out there and you can feed it to her and she'll Karl Malone you. Like she will just knock down that shot until you have to come out. And like, you know, when you come out on her, now you've got Angel one-on-one on the block playing against,
Whoever.
you know, some scrub. I mean, like.
But isn't everything you just laid out, right, where you expect, and I think this isn't, it's not even hyperbole to say, I don't know about going undefeated, but you certainly expect LSU to be, if not repeat, be in the national championship picture this year. Anything else would be almost shocking. With that, isn't that why you go ahead and get the extension done now before you have to negotiate maybe against another national championship
Yes,
on the
absolutely.
So
Not only that,
yeah,
not only that, she's driving the price tag up.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if she
right.
goes and does it again, it's like almost Kim Mulkey could sit back and go, I'll wait a year.
Yeah. I mean, she's got so much leverage, and her team is so good. Like, I mean, it really is. So, open up the phone lines, taking your women's basketball questions here over the next 2 hours as we get you set.
LSU women's basketball.
That's right. Welcome in the authority of LSU women's
Football
basketball.
season is
the
over.
podcast that you have been looking for. LSU football is in recruiting season.
Yes.
We will talk to Shea about the class of 2024 and how much that opener against USC in Las Vegas looms next year. We're already looking ahead.
Caleb Williams' dad said he doesn't want to go to the league. that spells disaster for LSU, huh?
He was just on, that would be awful. He's just on a Dr. Pepper deal, but that's part of what NIL has become. They see who's tanking, and it's obviously the Cardinals who don't have a quarterback, won't announce a quarterback. You see who that coach is, and he is, talk about Kendall Roy from Succession. He's just saying buzzwords and getting people excited, and nobody in the room is responding. And if you're Caleb Williams, the only leverage you have is you can go back to school, because I don't want to play for that. I'll just go back to USC and have a good time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But then they'll just tank again.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't
just
know.
go 2 years in a row with the number one pick.
I don't know if you can beat that model.
You can't. There's no beating it.
Like, you're not going to beat that model. Like, you can threaten to sit out, but then, like, you're going to have to go through it next year, and they're not going to change this for any one player. There's no one player bigger than the NFL draft. There's just not. You know what I mean?
Family.
Like, maybe if you get in the league and you play for 20 years and you do the whole, you know, like you do the whole thing like Brady did.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but you're not going to. I mean, the Mannings tried to take on the draft.
They won.
And they've been the most successful at it, but they didn't change the model.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what they were intending to do. They wanted to say, this is unfair.
This
They
should
need
be
to
a
change.
lottery.
I should be able to tell you. They're like, well, no. I mean,
Well, we tell you where you're
yeah,
going.
right.
Yeah.
And I mean, what did San Diego do when Archie said we're not going to San Diego? They drafted him.
They drafted him anyway.
You know what I mean? Like they're like, hey, Arch, I hear you,
Come
and
on
I know
over.
you swing a big old stick in the NFL, but we're taking him. You know what I mean? Like it's just how it's going to be. So I mean, like if the same thing's going to happen to Caleb Williams, you're not going to be able to say where you want to go.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't understand that.
You got a chance to go to Tampa, man. There's no state tax. Like just
Go to Tampa.
enjoy it.
Enjoy
You know,
it.
like accept it, embrace it. I mean.
The only person that's ever really beaten it by himself is what, John Elway? Because he had the New York Yankees in his back pocket.
Not everybody has,
Yeah,
a
Kyler
first-round
Murray.
pick of a Major League Baseball deal
Right.
behind
Kyler Murray,
you. Yeah,
too.
Kyler Murray would be the only other one that had Drew Henson, maybe. I mean, Drew Henson was a Michigan quarterback that did the same thing, went and played for the Yankees and ended up playing for the Dallas Cowboys, right? And he came in with all this hype, but it was just, it never hit.
But that's the only leverage you have is saying, I can go play a different sport. It's not,
Yes.
I'm holding out and getting drafted by a different team in the National Football League.
See you next year, Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cardinals are still going to be right here.
right.
I'm still waiting on you.
Same plan.
And now you'll probably have more teams that are going to be like, oh, now he has to come out.
That ugly girl is still waiting on
Oh,
you.
yeah.
She's still waiting outside.
You got an arranged marriage outside.
Absolutely.
You got to get out the car. Damn it.
Kim Mulkey, 745.
Dad, I don't want to get out.
No contract discussion.
No
No.
video? We're doing video?
No. No vid. No vid.
We got the dongle.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans. You can find them online, katie'sinmidcity.com. I told you that I was in New Orleans last weekend. Told me I ran into somebody. They listened to the pod. They love the pod down in New Orleans. And he said that he was an original Katie's customer. Started going there back in 84. Still goes. Loves it. Watch it grown. Now down on Iberville Street. Scott Craig's done a great job. They've embraced football season down there by installing 6 new televisions. They've got new Sunday hours that exist down there as well, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you want a pregame, you want a postgame, you can hit that up. I got it. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Been around since 1984. Anybody check out podcasts from around the country yesterday? College football, Andy Staples podcast, Dan Lebitard podcast, Colin Cowherd's podcast.
SEC Network right now.
SEC Network right now on television. You know who's getting great run? Jacques Doucette is getting run all over the country yesterday. I'm listening to Lebitard's podcast yesterday afternoon. Just kind of, going through the afternoon trying to get some information. They're leading with Brian Kelly's radio show and Jacques' follow-up Monday at a press conference.
The crowd cheer.
I get onto Andy Staples' podcast this morning after my workout. He's talking about it. It references Jacques' question on Monday. I'm watching the SEC Network right now, Out of Pocket with Takeo Spikes, and is that Allison Williams? I'm sorry.
Okay, Stu
I was
Gatz.
hoping she would have her
Name come up on the bug.
Damn it, I'm sorry. That is not Allison
And-
Williams. I know it's not Allison Williams. I'm screwing this up.
Takeo Spikes is the co-host.
But Out of Pocket's hosts
There you go.
He's the co-host.
on the SEC Network right now are talking about what? About stuff that Brian Kelly said in his press conference on Monday. And not only do they look at first off, the soundbite from the radio show and then the Monday quote stating like that he doesn't do that. He doesn't make those comments. He's been respectful, which is all true. But the fact of the matter is, at like pep rallies and coaches shows, like whatever you say should kind of like come with a little caveat, right? Like kind of like I'm in front of the fan base. I'm playing to the crowd. When you hear it and it's in context, can we pull the soundbite? Can we pull the full soundbite from the radio show, Stewie? Is that possible to do over the next couple of minutes where we can play the entire soundbite? Because if you have not heard the soundbite, it really is kind of like balled up in a bunch of excuses. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I mean he is. He's talking like, look, we've got a ton of new faces. We got freshmen, we got transfers, we got guys that haven't made the trip. We have guys that we haven't seen play. We got guys that we still have to watch. You know what I mean? He's kind of like priming you up to kind of say, everybody just kind of pump the brakes a little bit. We've gone through fall camp, and we might not be as good as I think we are. And I think he looked up in the room, and he kind of saw people being like, wait, after all this summer and all this buildup, are you telling us that we're going to suck again? And I think he saw those faces, and he was like, well, look, we're going to beat the hell out of Florida State.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we're going to beat the hell out. And like, that was the tone of it. That was the kind of like, and in that setting and in that environment, if you don't know anything about it, right? Like, you're like, whoa, Brian Kelly just said they're going to beat Florida State. But if you understand where he is, the room he's in, what he's playing to, all right, like, I get it. The part that that Brian Kelly dropped the ball on, and now why it's a national story, is because he denied that he said it. And it was very easy for him to just come out and be like, look, I was at the radio show. I was a little caught up, and I was talking about it, and I may have said something, but I mean, at no point did I mean any disrespect for the opponent, right? And I don't think that was the case at all. Like, he didn't. But now this thing is bubbling over, and it's a huge story. Does it mean anything? It doesn't. But one thing that is evident, if you're listening to national broadcast, podcast, college football news, people hate to love, people love to hate Brian Kelly. Like, he is one of these unlikable characters in the national scope of sports. Like, people that don't know him, people that have watched him through the television, people that have watched Notre Dame, people that have, maybe watched LSU for a year. And I'm not, I'm just kind of reacting to what I heard yesterday. That was one of my biggest takeaways, was like, damn. People are kind of waiting on Brian Kelly to fall. Like, they're waiting on him to kind of get into a situation where they can kind of point and say, I told you so. And like I said yesterday, and I got crushed inside of the chat for kind of like trying to dissect Kelly's Monday press conference. But I was doing that because I've always been so enamored, impressed from somebody in the communication business, looked up to his communication style. I mean, I know I've done the segment countless times on this show of saying, man, Brian Kelly is a tremendous communicator. I mean, he is somebody that is very clear to understand. He's very laid out. He's very relaxed in his tone. He's very easy to understand. You know what I mean? Like, if you were working alongside him, if you were working for him, if you were working, like if you were a player for him, it seems like it would be very clear to hear what his communication expected. And on Monday, that's as flustered and as much as I've seen him use word soup and word salad that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, it's no sound for the alarm. It's not like nobody's blowing up, not fire the guy. It's not any of that stuff. It's just it's a little bit more intense than I think this season when you look at those sound bites in itself. I mean, if Stewie can grab it, we can let you hear it, the full soundbite of it. But the full soundbite of what happened at the radio show is really kind of Kelly telling you, hey, everybody chill out. We're not as good as I thought we were. And I think he looks up and he's like, and everybody's kind of like, like eating their ribs, like, what? And this is going to be a great year. And he's like, whoa, hang on now. We're going to beat the hell out of Florida State. And then on Monday, when Jacques asks him about it, I mean, it kind of goes through this like, I didn't say it, and then I did say it, and then I want to clarify that I'm always respectful. And it was just kind of like when I'm talking to him, it was like this word soup and salad where at the end of the minute answer, you're like, what happened? I mean, so did you say it or did you not say it? And when you open it up like that, now it becomes a national story. You know, I mean, and Toot Robinson. Okay, he lied. That's one time. Like, I'm not here to like lambast. I'm just saying, like, for somebody that's been such a clear communicator, and that's been one of his best attributes, I would say, since he's been here. At least to me, covering him and like watching LSU's program, it seems like the head coach is very clearly defined on what he wants and his expectation. This week was a little different. I mean, it's been a little different. So, you know, make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. Am I overreacting? I mean, is that too down to the? Is that too granular? I mean, is that too microscopic in the dissection of what Kelly is kind of going through? Because it seems like he was humbled over the last couple of days of our team is not as good as I thought they were going into the season.
I think what can be made from this, obviously this is easy for the national media to pile on because I don't think he's very well liked amongst the national media.
No. Don't think that.
Yeah.
Go back over the last 24 hours and listen to all college football coverage. People love to hate Brian Kelly. Last year was hard for people to throw him some bouquets.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about people that are like national voices. They've got no problem being like, it's kind of fun to watch Kelly fail.
Right. It seems like, there has to be kind of an enemy, and then a lot of it is, they pick on, I don't want to say pick on, but they choose to focus to vilify coaches as opposed to players because it's college kids, right? So when you look at the face of the brand, you look at the head coach, that's who represents the program, because you don't look, players get praise because nobody's going to sit around and knock on the kids. So it always falls on the head coach who represents the program, I guess, at a national perspective. But yeah, people have been praying for Brian Kelly's downfall for quite some time. You saw how hard it was for him to get ingrained into Louisiana nationally because he does you can go back to them making fun of his accent and the way he danced and all this stuff. But you know what cured that was winning. Yeah.
Winning cures all.
Right. And I think the way he came in this year was a totally different version of Brian Kelly that even LSU expected, where he felt like he was finally accustomed to what was going on down here, which can lead to saying something in jest at a TJ Ribbs press conference. Nationally, they don't understand the context in which it's being said, but the doubling down on it and saying that he didn't say it is the problem in front of what makes him easy to be made fun of, because that's when you get back to, oh, this is the old Brian Kelly. That's what all you're seeing from a Notre Dame perspective. This is the coach that they felt like they had. And now when they saw him kind of turn coat and become this personable guy, they're like, well, where was that?
The leprechauns are dancing in the street up in South Bend.
Everywhere.
I mean, like, the little leprechauns are just dancing all over the place. The Notre Dame fan base is as loud as they want to be right now.
Right. I mean, because they feel like they're good.
Absolutely. Well, they feel like Brian Kelly has left and that they're still the same program.
Right, but those are Brian Kelly's players. I would say if you're an LSU fan, if you're like, this can obviously all be an overreaction because of who LSU played. And if you play a week 0 game, week 1 game that isn't Florida State and it's not on a national scene and you win and win ugly, none of this is a story.
Amen.
But it's the context in which it happened. Maybe a comment gets taken out of perspective that not really a lot going on in the media right now. You have one game, probably Texas, Alabama, that everybody has circled, and then Colorado. But this is the national narrative. LSU was a top 5 team that got kind of run out the building, and now you have quotes that come out, and it makes it an easy target. And so I don't think it necessarily has to be just us that's talking about it because we're so close to it. I think we understand more perspective. But yes, you don't want to see him start falling back down this path of where he gets very jaded and guarded with the media, becomes that Brian Kelly meme that you saw at Notre Dame that's red-faced and screaming at everyone. The version of him that has become at LSU is awesome. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one that plays. But there is a perspective of you don't want him to feel like he's too comfortable, I guess. But you talk about the Kim Mulkey contract. He's got a 10-year deal. It's Brian Kelly's team. He ain't going nowhere. So I think people just need to pump the brakes, and I think you'll see this thing continue to evolve. Because even he said before the year, we started to hype up the LSU football team. The more we saw, the more we heard about it, the more we put the pieces together. He was the one beating the table saying year 3. So LSU became out that they might be ahead of schedule. This was always an option in Brian Kelly's mind that they weren't ready in year 2 to make a national run. Nobody just wanted to hear it.
Larry Huber Jr., I think you guys should talk about this the rest of the show. MC, would y'all say this is a classic example of liar, liar, pants on fire? JS, you're going in circles, Jordy. Spectrum Wellcare, Jordy never overreacts. Cordell Music, you're overreacting a little, Jordy. Tom Granning says he agrees with you, Lloyd. JS says conspiracy and over-analysis is what this show is about. That is right, JS. Thank you very much. Speaking of the listeners, thank you so much for all the likes and shares and comments over the last couple of days and being in here. The subscriptions that we have seen jump up over the last couple of days, we appreciate you for. So if you're in here right now and you have not liked the show, make sure and get us a like before you get out of here. We'd like to get to 100 likes before we get out of here has kind of been the goal, but yesterday we crushed that, so we need to bump that goal up. We need to get 100 an hour.
Somebody said that there's a pizza party that was promised.
Not me.
Oh.
All right, so if you have not subscribed and you're watching right now, make sure and hit that subscription button. And remember, Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Click Here Digital. We're on Click Here Digital's campus every single day over here on Interline Avenue in between Drusilla and Airline Highway, right in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where this is a full-stack digital marketing agency who is helping digital marketing plans around the country. You probably don't know the place exists right here in Baton Rouge, but places like Gordon McKernan and automotive industries from around the country are aligned with Click Here Digital. If you want to learn how Click Here Digital can help you out setting your Google ads, setting your Facebook, Instagram ads, helping you with your display video, your social media management, your full-service digital marketing stack agency ready for you right here in Baton Rouge. Get in touch with me, Jordy at clickheredigital.com, Jordy at clickheredigital.com, and online at clickheredigital.com. JS said conspiracy and over-analysis is what this show is about. Anybody watch the last Hard Knocks?
I did.
How about Aaron Rodgers?
I have not. I've been watching Winning Time.
Oh, I haven't started
It is
season
back,
2.
season 2.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were doing a second season.
I didn't either.
I thought it was a limited
Coach,
success.
I thought the Lakers shut it down.
The Larry Bird story is like insane. Like they show part of his story, like his relationship with his dad. Like his dad, I didn't know his dad committed suicide.
Oh.
And so like he goes home from Indiana because he went to Indiana out of high school, I guess. He goes to Indiana, leaves Indiana, and his dad's like, he goes back home to his dad, and his dad's like, do you want to come back home and just be a drunk like me? And then like a couple days later, his dad kills himself. And he's like working at a convenience store. He's in the back, like behind the convenience store playing pickup basketball. Assistant coach from Indiana State's watching him play pickup basketball, gets out the car, begs him to come to Indiana State. So Bird's like,
this is after he had quit Indiana.
Yeah, this is after he quit Indiana. So like Bird's like, all right, whatever, I'll come. Shows up in a button-down shirt, jeans, and boots. The coach is like, you don't want any shoes? He's like, nah, just give me the ball. He's like, keep count. And he just starts going full Larry Bird, just fake passes, shooting it over people. He has at one point he has 26 points. He's like, you keeping count? And then he turns and shoots another 3. He's like, that's 29.
Bird is such a gangster.
He was, dude. I wish he lived in this era.
I know. I mean, his stories are amazing.
And then I think they were playing the Lakers in a preseason game. The Lakers were winning. And Red's going off. He's pissed. So he tells the coach from the Celtics to put Bird in because he's not playing him. And Bird's already arguing with the coach to get in. And Red's like, put him in. So the coach is smoking a cigarette, or somebody is. Bird takes the cigarette, hits the cigarette, throws it out, flicks it, and goes in the game. It just goes full Larry Bird, 30 points later.
You know, they say the best game Bird played in the NBA, he played in New Orleans.
Really?
Right. I mean, if you've ever seen the highlights of him versus the Atlanta Hawks, he is playing at UNO Lakefront Arena. The court says New Orleans on it, the city of New Orleans. He is hitting fadeaway three-pointers in front of the Atlanta bench, and they are falling down. Mike Fratello tells the story.
That's the game I was going to talk about.
Fratello tells the story he didn't let the guys travel home with the team because of the way they were acting with Bird. One of them is with a towel fanning Bird off in front of the bench. Bird lets one go and does the Steph Curry. He lets it go and looks at him. like, boom.
They are laying across each other on the bench, just going, oh my God.
I mean, like, they are falling off. It's like Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
It's like Cliff. I mean, like, it is like this group of, like, Spud Webb, Dominique Wilkins. I mean, like, Wilkins and Bird have the best, like, because they were in the same division, so they would play each other all the time. And Wilkins is like, the first time I ran into this guy, I would say, like, Wilkins is like he looks like an athlete. You know what I mean? Like, he gets off the bus, you're like, I'll take him. Right? Like, Larry Bird gets off the bus, and you're like, I guess you take the white guy, right?
Who's the white
you know what I
kid?
mean? And, like, Bird, like, during, like, it's like the tip-off was like, what's up, Rook? And he's like, hey, man. He's like, I'm about to drop 50 on you. And he's like, say what? Like, I'm about to kick your ass, old man. You know, like, next thing you know, like, Bird's, like, just, like, mopping the floor with Dominique Wilkins. But, I mean, some of the stories are fantastic, man. I mean, of early Bird. But if you have not seen the Celtics-Hawks highlight from New Orleans, it is
so good.
Like, in the lore of Larry Bird, it's like it goes down as like one of his best regular season games ever. He's doing things that are
it's
like a movie.
He's on fire.
It's like a movie. I mean, like, and Mike
chat.
Fratello, the little like short Italian, is the coach for Atlanta. So he's like, he's like.
Get
You
mad.
mean he's like emotional, jumping all over the place.
Guard
Like,
him.
he looks down the bench, and his guys are like waving
Dying
off
laughing.
Bird, like celebrating his 3-point shots. I mean, it is amazing. It is one of the best highlights I've ever seen. I say that, but I was saying that to get to this. Aaron Rodgers on the last Hard Knocks saw a UFO.
Oh, yeah.
Like, saw a UFO.
We've both seen a UFO in the
I
past.
saw one last weekend.
I told y'all. Everybody's catching on now, right? I mean, I told y'all about the one that crash landed in Clinton, Louisiana a couple of years ago.
Oh, they just
Everybody
covered that
tried
up.
to buck it. Huh?
They covered that up, though.
Yeah, absolutely, they
There's
covered it
nothing
up.
on the internet about it. Like,
100% they covered it up. They washed it from the internet. They taped off the crash site. They removed all the... I mean, like, whatever happened, they got rid of it. But, I mean...
fast.
I've been telling y'all for years about this UFO stuff.
I had never seen one personally. Always believed,
Me too.
but it hung out. We were outside after the game. No, this is on Saturday before the game because I tried to ask them if LSU was going to win. They didn't respond, so I should have taken that as a hint. But the UFO just lingered. It didn't do. There was probably 2 or 3 of them that like we saw them. No stars in the sky, moon, and just these orbs. And they hung out. You could see like an aura around them too. It was wild. Not scared, interested. I asked them to beam me up. They didn't come get me, but I said, I said my piece, but I'd never seen one. And they probably sat in the sky for 30 minutes and just all around. And that's Alexandria, coach. That's not too far from like where there was another sighting. I think in Pineville, one crashed. So A-Town, full of aliens.
Yeah,
BK, go recruit.
Yeah, we were just hanging out like outside the apartment one night, and you could just see like it was as clear as day, just a bunch of lights just rising into the sky.
Absolutely.
And we were like, this thing's hanging
That's
out.
a UFO.
Like they're trying to make communication here.
But the smile on Rodgers' face the whole time he's talking about it, he's like, I was like thrilled. Like it couldn't happen to a better person.
I mean,
Trying to hang out with him.
it was post-court. I mean, like, he was like, he had
Yeah,
this
but
glow to him.
He's like, I'm on Hard Knocks to tell this story.
The brand,
Don't cut that.
The brand resurrection that has happened to Aaron Rodgers is
People love him
It
now.
is it's a case study. I mean, like, for somebody who was as guarded as he was a couple of years ago, that now is just out, like, just blasting ayahuasca, hiding himself in dark rooms, blasting his stories about UFO on Max. I love this guy, man. I'm back on the Aaron Rodgers on the bandwagon.
Never fell off.
Denver Harris is available this weekend, according to Brian Kelly. We will
Speaking of
see,
aliens.
hopefully, that's right. An extraterrestrial, a defensive back
That we
for
haven't
LSU that he may roll out there. Let me just say this. We're about to catch up with Coach Mulkey, and we cannot talk about the contract. The Board of Supervisors are going to approve Coach Mulkey's $36 million contract extension for 10 years tomorrow. She will become the highest paid coach in women's college basketball history, as she is the defending national champ at LSU. We're going to talk to her about her squad. You know about the contract. We can't ask her about the contract. But one storyline I can't wait to evaporate is once Denver Harris gets on the field, once he touches the grass, it can finally put to rest all of these people, all of these talking heads who are saying that, well, Denver Harris is running with the third team because he's the third best cornerback on the team. Get the hell out of here. Like, if you really want to die on that hill, if that's what you're telling people why Denver Harris is not playing, your information is about to get so exposed and so put on Front Street that once he gets on the field, it is going to be literally impossible to take him off. Especially after what you have seen at defensive back. Right? I love Sage Ryan. Sage Ryan can't play cornerback at LSU. They figured that out within the first half that they put him out there. Deuce Chestnut is a mismatch in certain situations when they put him out there. Florida State exposed that. Are you going to play Keon Coleman every week? No, but when you get to the SEC, there's going to be one wide receiver per team that if you're undermanned, you can isolate somebody on and make a play, especially if you're going to play on an island. And I've just got news for everyone. There's only been one show that has been saying since the start of it that Denver Harris is the best cornerback on the team, and it's not even close. He's the top cover guy, and that information has not only been coming from players on the team, that's been coming from coaches on the team, his family, and everybody around the program. So once you see number 10 in the flesh on the field for the first time, I cannot wait for the story to really, the facts to come out. Like, are you kidding me that this guy has not been playing because he was a couple of minutes late for a team meal? And you got a wide receiver at Florida State that's playing backyard football with you, and you left this guy at home? All right. Once he gets on the field, he ain't coming off. He's not coming off the field. For one simple reason. For one reason. He's the best guy for the job. That's it. And once you start playing the best players at every position, then we'll see how much of a chance or how good LSU really is. Kim Mulkey, LSU women's basketball coach, defending national champ, next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Built every day by R&B Builders. Jordan Brisker, Jordy, you're dying on this hill. Dying on the hill.
I'm dying there.
Dying on? I'm not dying. I'm climbing the hill. I'm climbing the hill to tell you that they finally got a player, a defensive back that they can play.
And I'm bringing Louis with me.
What
do you think available means?
It means he's gonna play.
Or does that just mean he's gonna? He didn't even dress out for the Florida State game.
He didn't
available.
go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the definition of available. He did not announce him as a starter. He just said available. So I don't know if you're just gonna see 10 in a
Jordan,
jersey.
strange hill to die on with a guy who can't follow the rules. Ace, I'm not worried about. I'm talking about on the field.
Season.
I'm talking about on the field. Once you see him play, you will realize why he's been kept on the team. If he's breaking all these rules and Brian Kelly's such a stickler and a disciplinarian, why is he still on the squad? If we're always preaching accountability and keeping people aligned and on time and on task, why didn't they throw him out? You know why? You really want to know why? It's because when they close the door and they're like, all right, what are we going to do with Denver? You can't throw him off. It gives you the best chance to win. Denver Harris is available. Hopefully we see him this week make his debut. Kim Mulkey next. In Baton Rouge to all sports fans was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah. Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com. All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, brought to you by our friends over at Hughes Mechanical. Hughes Mechanical AC. Remember, they can service your air conditioning, install more, whether it's commercial or residential, online at hughesmechanical.net. They are a trusted Daikin dealer over there at Hughes Mechanical. All right, some big news happening tomorrow on campus that the Board of Governors is going to meet on. Obviously, Coach Kim Mulkey, we are very lucky to have her on campus. The LSU brass thinks so, and they are going to reward her and keep her around. We can't talk about that until it happens, and we'll make sure and react to that, but this is going to go down. But Coach Mulkey's team is on campus now, working out. The defending champs are here. They are getting ready for another season. I told you I was walking past the basketball facility the other day, peeked my head in, and, man, they are going to be really fun to watch. It is going to be a really good group as far as what Coach Mulkey and her staff have put together. Some other news around LSU basketball as well is that there's a new rule within the NCAA, and Coach Mulkey was able to reward a couple of her assistants with some elevated spots. So lots to get to with the coach this morning as she is going through her exercise regimen here on this Thursday morning. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm out walking the neighborhood, and it's a beautiful day. The birds are chirping. It'll get to, 100 degrees before I get done, but that's all right. That's what we're used to.
Absolutely. Another South Louisiana morning for you as your team is getting prepared for the season as defending national champs, Coach. And what has it been like, first and foremost? Just the last time we talked, you were waiting on them to arrive on campus. Now that they are here, what has it been like?
Well, we're only working out a couple days a week. I take the first 2 or 3 weeks of school and just kind of acclimate the new ones to the pace of practice, teach them a few drills so that when we officially start on the 25th, it's not just so foreign to them that they're lost out there. But it's good to have them back. Haley Van Lith finished up her 3-on-3 obligation with USA Basketball. Michaela Williams won her 3-on-3 competition, and for the 3rd straight year was MVP. And she's back on campus. So we have them all here. We're recruiting hard, and back to the grind, Jordy.
You are recruiting hard. The news is out there. You're steadily on the trail of more 5 stars and bringing more top-end talent in. But some other news around women's college basketball, or I guess college basketball in general, Coach, is the new rule on the bench. You were able to elevate and reward a couple of assistants that I know are very much working hard for you behind the scenes.
I have a really, really good staff. I have a mixture of the older staff that can help me with X's and O's when I get tired, and I have the young staff that can keep me abreast of this generation, and it's just fun to go to work every day. And they do all the legwork in recruiting. They just want me to close the deals, and that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. Coach, a little bit about your team. I peeked my head in the other day into the practice facility. I was walking past, and I knew you were going to be. I know you're going to be good, and I know everybody's going to talk about you and build you up going into the season. To see them in person is another thing on just the depth and the numbers you had. Real quick about some of your new faces that just jumped out to me. First and foremost, Angelica Velez, who I know is a point guard out of Tennessee. Who is somebody that was on the same team as Aaliyah Del Rosario, who was the top post player in the country. But just a little bit about Angelica that the listeners may not know about, because when I saw her the other day, her basketball IQ, just the way that she plays, really is just like, it's clear. I mean, like, once you watch her, you're like, oh my goodness. I mean, she's so smart out there.
Yeah, the 4 freshmen, they're just a joy to be around. They were here all summer on campus. And if you want to talk about Velez, the first thing I would tell you about a young lady is she's a leader. She has no problem opening her mouth. She has no problem being the Energizer bunny out there. She came here, as she says, to play with all these great players. I just know her ceiling is really, really high. And being an old point guard, she absorbs everything I say. She's in the office every day. She comes by just to say hi on her way to class. Just one of those kids that you're just going to love coaching. My big girl, Aaliyah Del Rosario, she is from the Dominican, but played with her in high school, has her citizenship. She was born in Texas while her mom was over in the States playing basketball. She's a big old teddy bear. She's one that you just hug on, and I tell her all the time that I'm going to make you just a little bit meaner in a good kind of way. And she smiles at me. Of course, Michaela Williams, we all know her talent, and she's a workhorse. She can't get in the gym fast enough, and she stays in the gym longer than anybody. She and Van Lith just gym rats. Janae Kent is really impressive in these workouts. If you just drew up a body that you needed it to look like playing the wing position, she's got the lean, athletic body. But Janae's kind of the unheralded one of the 4, and yet she really has my attention in these early workouts. So that was good to see.
I think Anissa Morrow, and just watching her shoot it, she looks like the best mid-range shooter on campus. She may be one of the best mid-range shooters in the game. What does she bring the team?
Well, she's a perimeter shooter. She can shoot it, light it up. She had a individual meeting with her yesterday, and what a pleasant person to talk to. Her mother played at Nebraska basketball, and her dad played football there. So she comes from a lineage of athletes in her family. She wants a ring, Jordy. She's won all the awards for Freshman of the Year and the league that DePaul played in. She wants to win a championship, and she wants to do whatever it takes. And I just know that If we play her inside a little bit, she'll be an undersized post player, but she's going to wreak havoc because we can bring her outside.
Jordan Brisker, a listener, Coach, asks a great question. Coach, what's the formula on scheduling after winning a national championship?
Well, my formula may not be what the fans' formula wants it to be. That's the funny part of all of it. Oh, she plays a terrible schedule. Does anybody think I play a schedule for the fans?
No.
You're misleading yourself. I play a schedule that I want to play. And we added some tougher games this year, but, according to the fans, it's never tough enough. Well, I just do what I want to do, and it seems to have worked for, 40 years.
What's the next development of Flaugier, Coach? What's next in her game?
Flaugier is motivated right now. She sees the talent that we've brought in. Flaugier got a taste of it last year, freshman of the year in the SEC, winning a championship. Flaugier's not going to be just pushed and shoved to the side. So she's out there competing every day with Van Lith, and they stay late after practice. She and Michaela and Van Lith and Janae, you don't want to let your teammate down. So if that teammate stays, I'm going to stay too. Yeah. And it's going to be some competition. Now, look, talent is what it is. We are talented. I'll never be able to deny or hide that. But talent alone doesn't win championships. So we're going to take that underdog role. I'm sure there are more talented teams than us out there based upon experience.
Coach, last one, and I will get you out of here. Last Tierra Poa. I know that she was a little nicked up. You expect her back before you guys get going?
Yeah, Poa actually broke the top of her hand and had surgery Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember. And they put a little, I guess a rod, I don't know what you call it, but they do that to make you heal faster. So I've had many players that break the top of their hand on those bones, and she'll be back. We don't start until the 25th. And by the time that gets here, Poe will be good to go.
The defending national champs, the national coach of the year, the best coach in the game, and coming back with a great squad. Whatever happens over the next couple of days, Coach, it ain't enough. Appreciate you very much. Thank you as always.
You bet. You're welcome.
All right, there she is, Coach Kim Mulkey, checking in this morning, LSU women's basketball coach. She is the head coach and the national champ. That conversation brought to you by Go Roof. Remember, online at GEAUXroof.com. Get in touch with our friends online to get a beautiful roof every single time. You can request a quote online, or you can call them, 225-927-8300. You get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee with all new roof installations. You can count on Go Roof for roof repair, roof installation, roof installs, and roof maintenance as well. We tell you that is commercial and residential. Free quotes are available today. Free and a quick roof inspection. They'll hop up on the roof, tell you what's going on, let you know what they need to do, and they'll work with the insurance company directly. They'll take all the headaches out of the issue for you. Online, Go Roof, GEAUXroof.com, GEAUXroof.com, or dial them up at 225-927-8300, 225-927-8300 is the phone number. Good stuff for Coach Kim as she will be over the next 24 hours, she will become the highest paid women's college basketball coach in the history of the game, as she will ink a $32 million extension over the next 10 years for LSU women. As you heard there, they are still recruiting at a very high level. They're bringing in 5-star after 5-star. I peeked my head into the practice facility the other day to see them up close and to see this team in person. It'll take you back the first time on just how good they are. I mean, you heard her talk about the point guards. She's got 2 of the top point guards in the country. Haley Van Lith is the top transfer in the country. Michaela Williams is the top player in the country at that position coming in. Michaela can shoot it. She can play off guard and play 2. But you heard her talk about Angelica Velez as well. She was the most impressive player that I saw. Now, look, this was 10 minutes. I saw 10 minutes. I didn't, and they were all out there. Flaugier, Angel, Haley Van Lith, Anissa Morrow. Angelica Velez is somebody that is going to have to play on a very talented team very early. Like Coach Mulkey said, leadership, very vocal, wants to pull the best out of her teammates. She is a very impressive prospect very early on. All right, we'll get back to football next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, we are built by R&B Builders. If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on.
Did you do it?
Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every single time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Belmont Stakes Race Training.
I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Kentucky Derby training. I'm sticking to roofing.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at RMB Builders. You can get in touch with Rhett and the crew by logging online to rmb-builders.com and simply find them on Instagram at RMB Builders. We mentioned that Coach Brian Kelly said yesterday that Denver Harris was going to be available. He mentioned that on the SEC teleconference when asked about Harris. He said, yes, he's available. He is available for Saturday's action. So we will see whether or not he can take some reps this weekend. You would imagine that this would be a weekend where Coach Kelly and the crew want to break in more prospects, more players, more depth, so that they can really start to take off towards this season, man. I mean, you cannot expect to go through not playing guys and building depth like last week was really the question. Like, where are some of these people, right?
I don't even know if it feels like it's more plays over players than it was. I mean, obviously, I didn't expect a lot of freshmen to make an impact Sunday, just because of everything we were told and everything we saw with Brian Kelly, which it was, he told you he was going to lean on experience. And he did that in the first game against Florida State. Then you saw some changes be made from whether you can go back to the last year in the Superdome where he started to insert like another influx of talent, or you'll probably see that this year where he brings them along a little bit slower. But name me one play that looked different against Florida State when you're talking about the LSU offense.
The first one.
And name one after that.
I can't.
You can't. Because even Jane Daniels talked about it yesterday where he said he felt like the offense was very much a lot of what they did last year, where it's deep comebacks and crossers. He's like, I think we have some more in the tank that we can do. So
you would hope.
But it just seems like when you have that long to prepare for a game that you know is going to be on that stage, you would want to put in a couple more wrinkles. You saw Florida State even at least they ran a trick play, but their offensive game plan was so tailored to stop, to be able to beat LSU, whether it was moving the pocket to be able to get Harold Perkins kind of off of his spot as opposed to the other way around. Mm-hmm. And that gave that freed up time for their quarterback. And then you saw that they let their playmakers go be playmakers. I think that LSU could probably take a page out of that book because we saw that, I mean, they've been compared, Jordan Travis and Jane Daniels have been compared to pretty similar quarterbacks. And while I think Travis is a better thrower of the football, you could use some of what they did on offense by rolling him out, getting the pocket going, cutting the field in half essentially, and having your playmakers be open, and you don't have to go through 3 and 4 progressions in the pocket and then make a decision if you have to run or not. I think you could simplify the offense, but also make it more dynamic. And that's what I think you'll hopefully see. Obviously, hard to take anything from Grambling. You just want to. This is where you'll see the young guys, right? This is where you'll see a Shelton Sampson, a Caleb Jackson on offense. Hopefully, you see a Denver Harris on defense, and you start seeing maybe Taviano and Welsh on defense.
See, I'm just kind of like, I really don't know how to feel about him not playing the freshman, because even Les Miles played his freshman. If he had a talented freshman, he was going to play.
I don't understand the theory of.
Well, it's the transfer portal too.
Any coaches not playing their best players. Who cares what the classification is?
Look at Colorado. Their running back is a freshman. He had 4 touchdowns against the national runner-ups.
Have you seen Caleb Downs at Alabama?
Stud. I mean, and Saban ain't scared to play him.
True freshman. It's LSU is in a place where not only do they have to play freshmen because of the limited numbers, that you talk about a sales pitch on the recruiting trail. I mean, I'm hearing this feedback, and I got it again last night. I was at U-High. We were watching some football, and some guy walked up to me and was talking about the Harold Perkins situation, and he was saying that, I was listening to your show today, and I get what you're saying about Perkins, but how do you think that it's not their responsibility to get him ready for the NFL? And I said, well, I didn't say that it's not their responsibility to get Perkins ready for the NFL. But it's not LSU's responsibility to make sure that he fits into a position at the next level. Who's the big defensive back? Who's the big linebacker that just got traded from Arizona to New York, the Giants? Isaiah Simmons. Do you remember playing Isaiah Simmons in the national championship game for Clemson? I mean, they moved that guy from level to level. He played at the third level. He played at the second level. He played at the front level of defense. To me, that is a very similar prospect of Harold Perkins. Maybe not in physical stature and ability, but that type of guy where in college he's just a little bit better than everybody as far as like the natural skill set. He runs faster. He can jump higher. He can, get sideline to sideline a little quicker. Brent Venables is one of the most well-respected minds in college football as far as defense goes, right? He didn't have a locked-in positions for Isaiah Simmons at Clemson. Isaiah Simmons was a what? Is he the 8th pick in the draft?
Yeah.
He's a top 10 pick? Mm-hmm. He's a top 10 pick. Because one franchise said, we know what to do with him. Or one franchise says, just get him in our program and we'll figure it out. And to me, that's the type of player that Harold Perkins is. There's no way an NFL GM or defensive coach or somebody on a staff doesn't look at Perkins and say, look, while he didn't figure out exactly where he plays at LSU, they moved him all around, and where they put him in certain spots, he was best. You can use that strength, that skill set to play at the next level. The entire time that's happening while he's on LSU's campus, he is developing. It's not as if you're not developing the player. I think you're almost roadblocking him right now with the theory and the scheme that you've got him in.
Mm-hmm.
You've almost stunted his growth. You may have.
Well, it's a 2 steps forward, 1 back, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, I guess, where you see what they're trying to do, because like we've talked about this. It's what you saw from Perkins last year. It was, I don't want to call it a one-trick pony, but it was a one-trick pony. They're trying to make him more of a threat defensively, and while there'll be growing pains about that, like there's a better version of Harold Perkins, or at least they think so, where he does more than just come off the edge. Do you want to see it not be so lopsided where it's 28 reps in pass coverage and only 6 coming off the edge? Yes, but I think that's part of the evolution of what you're going to see from Harold, where it becomes, okay, he can be all over the field, where you can move him around like Isaiah Simmons, but from what you saw in coverage, he's not comfortable doing it yet. But that doesn't mean you scrap it. You have to be able to let him do it in a game environment. It just sucks that it came against a Florida State team that was poised to seemingly make a run at a national championship just because of the conference they're in and what they looked like against LSU. Tough first test to be able to do something you've never done before.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think you'll see he'll play a lot against Grambling, I'd imagine.
He better.
And it'll be in that role. It'll be not coming off the edge. It'll be
to play
a practice game.
Absolutely. You got to take these opportunities, these glorified scrimmages and practices that you're paying for. I mean, you're cutting Grambling a check to come down here so you can play them. So if you're going to pay for it, get the most out of it. And LSU has a lot of question marks that they need answered this week. And they need to find a spot on how, or at least begin to find the spot, as Brian Kelly alluded to on Monday. These are all things that they're talking about behind the scenes on whether they should move him, how they should use him, where does he sit them and fit them best. I mean, these are the spots where you gotta find it. I mean, it's.
And I think probably, like Darren says in the chat, like, you don't know what was promised during recruiting.
Dude,
but
no.
No, I'm not saying that he's guaranteeing you that you're going to get this many snaps at this many positions. It's that I think it's the bigger picture of we're trying to get him ready for the NFL. I don't think that's a position change. I just think that's the truth. That's probably what they told him. Like, we'll make you more versatile, because even in high school, he didn't necessarily have a position. He just played football. So I'm sure that part of that was like, look, we're going to develop him, and this is part of that development. I'm not saying, oh, he gets to name and pick and choose whatever he wants to do on the LSU football team. That's not how it works. But I do think that they were like, look, we have a vision for Harold. This is freshman year, sophomore year, junior year in the league. And if we can check off these boxes, he'll be a top 5 pick. So I think that as part of the conversation of we can evolve him and get him to be a better football player and understand football more than just being an athlete on a football field. That can be promised.
Where did they move Simmons to? Ultimately in the NFL, does he play safety?
He plays linebacker.
He plays like kind of a rover, right?
Yeah, he plays like a rover.
He's like 6'4", though. Yeah. I mean, he's a big dude.
Yeah, he'll play Russian sometimes. He'll play linebacker, like stack linebacker. Sometimes they'll put him in the nickel.
Yeah, at Clemson, he played a ton of like coverage.
Yeah, he played a ton of like deep safety. Right?
Yeah.
And they would walk him up kind of like.
I'm not comparing the two player skill sets.
No.
I'm saying that you've got players that come around college football every 5, 7, 10 years where they're just a little bit from a skill set standpoint. They're probably already pro ready from a testing standpoint. Like if you put Harold Perkins in an NFL combine last summer, he'd have probably been like a top percentile performer. You know, I mean, he's going to chop that type of stuff up just because he's a freak athlete. So freaky that it takes a minute to kind of find Jacoby Stevens. Yeah. Think about Jacoby. How long did it take Jacoby Stevens to find a home? It was almost because you were like, man, put him at wide receiver, he catches the ball every time. Put him at defensive back, he comes out of a back pedal and can get into a sprint pretty quick. He flips his hips really well. Put him in the middle of the field, and he's like aggressive in making plays. It's like, man, I mean, like you can kind of move this guy all over the place. To me, Perkins is, you know, he's not that type of player, but he's as versatile as that type of prospect. Where you can't look at him and say, marry him to one position. Like, here's a guy that you have that can do multiple things. I would imagine a player like Perkins, Simmons, Stevens, these guys that come on, that's kind of like almost like an energizer for a coach. You know, like you see a lot of the prospects that are probably the same people every single year. You know what I mean? For every linebacker that is Jacob Phillips, I'll raise you a Greg Penn. Right? Like, I mean, like you've seen a lot of that you're in it for long enough. Prospects become, you know, but then you get a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. Or you get a guy like Harold Perkins.
There is
a guy like Isaiah Simmons.
There is no mold.
Yeah, you're like, holy shit. Like, what, man, you can do so much with this guy. Like, you can do all types of things. You can bring him up to the line. You can put him in coverage. He can return a punt. I mean, like, they can just do all these things for you. So as a coach, why would you landlock yourself into putting him in a spot where he can't fulfill the task? He can't do the assignment.
And I don't think people understand how much different like playing the edge is than playing like stack linebacker. Like you could tell he was kind of still going back to his edge principles, like at stack linebacker, like he's chasing people or he's trying to engage too much on a crossing route, and then he ends up turning his back. And it's just like simple technique stuff that he doesn't get yet. But, I mean, I don't fault him for not getting it because they didn't try to at least start last year. I think that the problem is that they should have started last season, kind of integrating him into being a linebacker and running him on the edge instead of trying to spoon feed it to him. Like, you look at a Patrick Queen, you look at a Devin White, they all started at linebacker. Like, they started at stack linebacker, and then you worked them into a coming off the edge, doing all the things that they can do well. Like, Devin White was a hell of a pass rusher at linebacker, but he rushed from the middle. He could rush from the edge, too. And they developed that over the time. Over the time, Devin White became the best linebacker in college football because he knew how to do every piece of playing linebacker, and that started as a freshman. It didn't start his sophomore year before the season in the spring. So that's where I'm at on it.
It's hard
to
to
see, man. Be anxious to see how they go from here because they obviously recognize they have an issue. Brian Kelly stated it on Monday. That was at least good to hear because I thought his comments after the game were, God. I mean, like
we aren't better. We aren't who we thought we were.
Not only that, just about Perkins. You know, like what the experiment was, like what was the thought process behind it, and it was almost like he was doubling down on it. It was like, what?
He should be a linebacker.
I mean, I don't know. I do not think that it is the responsibility of the college football program to make sure that the prospect has a position to play. Do I believe that it is the responsibility of the college program to develop the player and get that player pro-ready, ready to go, take on the combine, ready to go into a training camp and not be, you know, years behind? Yes, I do. But breaking it down to making sure that Harold Perkins has a position at the next level, that's not your job. It's not LSU's job. LSU's job is to get him to the draft and get him drafted. right? Like, I mean, make sure that the football player is well-groomed enough and has the knowledge where he's ready to go. If he does not have a specific position, that's not your problem. There's 32 teams in the league that are going to evaluate and draft or go after drafting Harold Perkins, and they're going to find the spot for him. And I promise you, whoever drafts Harold Perkins is not going to call Brian Kelly, Matt House, or anybody on the defensive staff and say, hey, you think it's cool if we play him at linebacker? They may say, what was it like when he played linebacker? But ultimately, it's not going to be on the LSU coaching staff on what position Harold Perkins plays for his pro career. That's all I'm saying. Is it Matt House and Brian Kelly's responsibility to get him developed, to get to that point? Yes. But if he gets to that point and he's developed enough to be a pro, and they're still like, well, what position does he play? And they're like, I don't know. He played really good here. He did this stuff for us really good. He did that stuff really good for us here. When they put him in the middle, he wasn't that good. Okay, perfect. Thanks. That's all I'm saying.
And I think he can be a middle linebacker. Like, he has the talent, and he just doesn't have the technical
size.
part of it and the size. Like, the size is – I mean, but Patrick Queen played linebacker at the same size Perkins playing linebacker.
It is a 18-wheeler going head-on with a Honda Accord.
Semi-truck.
We can do this all day.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, right? I mean, if you want to put the 220-pounder against the 320-pounder on the island, where he's just now got to play one-on-one with him,
yeah.
And Perkins is the supreme athlete where he's faster and he's more agile, where he can just dip underneath you. Now he's in the backfield. Now he's around the ball. Now he's Harold Perkins. I feel like I've talked about this a lot this week.
Well, it's a big question. Yeah, I know.
I feel like I've pounded this into the ground. And
but no, it's nothing you can do about it.
I've been preaching about it since Monday.
Well, it's probably the one thing that you didn't expect to see on the LSU defense, where it was you expected four to make a play at some point, and instead you see him get compromised a lot, where you almost neutralize your best player. I get that, but I also think that a lot of what this is coming from is people looking at the final score and not realizing how, even though LSU probably didn't play its best game, in the third quarter, you're still in it, Coach. Like,
it's 24-17.
Yeah.
Should have been 24-24 on the Brian Thomas catch.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So LSU just made crucial mistakes in crucial moments where you can't do it, and that's how you lose football games, and that's where you get into the lack of effort, and you don't see fight in the team, whatever. That's what bothered people too. But the negativity surrounding, whether it be the head coach, the LSU football program, feels like it's spiraling out of control after week one, whenever nothing's happened yet. You've lost one game to Florida State, where you have, look what happened last year. You have a test case in which you should have a little bit more faith in what LSU football looks like. And I think that the big disappointment in my eyes is you had a lot of time. You don't have the same excuses you had last year, where it felt like you kind of hodgepodge everybody together, go out, roll the ball out, and play. You had everybody coming back. You had like I said, Matt House coming back, Den Brock coming back, Jane Daniels coming back, your whole receiving core coming back, the offensive line coming back. That's where I expected to see a leap in what the offense looked like, whether it be with scheme or just execution, and you saw really neither. And that's where I think that the disappointment lies, is they weren't as ready as I thought that they should have been. But that doesn't mean this talent is still the talent. And whether that takes LSU to go back to the drawing board, I think that they still did some things that were pretty good that kept you in a game with the Florida State team that's really good.
Remember our friends over at Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. You can get in touch with them with a 24-hour phone number. If you are an athlete, if you're a parent of an athlete, and you need a question answered about a medical, that's something going on with your child or with you, the 24-hour sports injury scheduling number for the Baton Rouge area. Take this down, 225-761-5895, 225-761-5895, online, ochsner.org/sports medicine. Injury clinic's going to be open Saturday mornings 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. over at the Grove location. Whether you're a pediatric patient, a high school athlete, or if you're a pro athlete like a Saint or a Pelican, weekend warrior, or even a senior citizen, all of us turn to Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute for care. Every day you can get multidisciplinary team that provides customized care for your one-of-a-kind patient. Online, ochsner.org/sportsmedicine if you want more information and how you can get involved. Shea Dixon from our friends over at On3 is going to stop by here, and we will talk to him about what his thoughts are on the week ahead for LSU.
Big recruiting weekend.
Yeah, big one. All right, he's going to be here in about 10 minutes, so come back with us.
This is what people want to see Perkins do. This is what we want to see. This is what LSU fans deserve to see. One-on-one with the tackle. Beats him inside. Now, this play was completed, but look at the dip. Look at the lean. Look how quickly he gets by the tackle.
Yeah, this is what he does well. I mean, this is his bread and butter.
You play in the backfield all night if you get that.
Yeah.
There he is.
Ooh.
The carriages model.
He got the Jets Oakleys too.
The man is looking fresh here on this Thursday. We'll be back. All right. Got family in tow. We will have Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by R&B Builders.
Right now.
Yo, buddy.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long. Do it right, do it light.
Kyra Lacey, wide receiver, number 2.
Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it. Thank you, man.
My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pregame meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pregame rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gore.
Thanks. Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 504 food because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person, I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having me joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
Besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future self, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Maason Smith. Maason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that. Throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
Welcome back here to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, as always built by our friends over at RMB Builders. We're live on the campus of Click Here Digital on Interline Avenue here in Baton Rouge. Online, clickheredigital.com to learn how they can help you with your full-service digital marketing plan, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, social media plan. Get in touch with Click Here Digital. Email me, Jordy at clickheredigital.com. Every Thursday, we talk to the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. Of course, he was on the call last weekend in Orlando. He'll be on the call tonight for Coach Brian Kelly's radio show, and then we'll be on the call on Saturday for the home opener for LSU versus Grambling here in the 2023 season. As always, this spot brought to you by our friends over at Carriages here in Baton Rouge, Jefferson Highway Shopping Center. Stop in. They've got the alternate logos over there for LSU. You'll see Blair wearing Carriages every single week, both here on this Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show and, of course, on Saturdays in the booth, as the play-by-play guy will be sporting some LSU gear from Carriages. So go in there and make sure and check him out. Voice, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just swimming upstream in that Baton Rouge traffic on a Thursday. So it's always odd to me. I don't know. You've obviously been here a lot longer than me. It seems like more people drive on Thursday and Fridays than Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But anyhow, it's good to be here, man.
Finally decided to go to work.
Yeah, a lot of people called in sick after Sunday.
After this week. All right, so take me through what was the first game. Obviously, the outcome not what all LSU fans wanted, but for you, kind of breaking through the 2023 season for the first time. What was it like? I watched the behind the scenes on YouTube, but for you, what was it? What was the experience?
Well, I mean, that's I guess the third time to Camping World Stadium, and there always seems to be something that happens to us. And apparently, we were told that human error shut down the entire network of Camping World Stadium for 10 to 15 minutes, which was all the radio booths, all the television booths, and we're told also, like the credit card machines, like the whole thing just went boom. And again, it was odd because when we finally got to talk to somebody, they said, yeah, human error, which I don't know if that somebody unplugged something or I don't know. But, you know, I would much rather
get that opportunity again.
People have asked me all the time, like, what do you think about these neutral site games? And again, it doesn't matter what I think, but I'd much rather play teams at Tiger Stadium at their venue than the neutral site games. And so we got through it, and, you know, it's like I told our guys, there was a lot of that stuff outside of our control, but you heard the old saying, make that big jump between week 1 and week 2. That's what we're hoping to do as a broadcast team this week, back at home in the friendly confines of Tiger Stadium. Football-wise, I was a little shocked at I don't know. I mean, it's even hard for me to put my finger on it because as I was talking to you before we went on the air, I went back and watched the game, and you know what I thought in real time, watching it in the booth. You know, this position group's not playing well, and this position group's not playing well. You know, when I went back and watched it, it wasn't as if it was from start to finish not very good, and there were plays here or there that needed to be made to change that game. I think a lot of us at halftime kind of thought, all right, there were some stumbles and bumbles there in the first half, but we seem to be getting it on track. We take a 3-point lead. Again, would love to have been in the end zone, but we'll take a 3-point lead with a field goal as time expired. And, you know, we'll see what happens in the second half. And what happened in the second half was, again, plays that were there to be made, Florida State made, and LSU didn't. So, and then you get the snowball effect, and before you know it, it's a 3-touchdown lead, and, you know, eventually 45 to 24. So it was tough to watch, and there were some surprising things. You know, Coach Kelly has talked about it. I'm sure he'll continue to talk about it. I mean, they've got to be able to run the football effectively and to make it a two-dimensional offense, so to speak. And, you know, the numbers for Jaden Daniels, even with some drops in the passing game, the numbers look pretty good. But they were, you know, they had no success running the ball outside of their quarterback on a couple of plays.
12 carries total outside of Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, and, you know, Jaden last year was your leading rusher. Sometimes it was by design, and sometimes it was just out here making plays when plays broke down. I just don't think that's the recipe they're looking for to compete again at the top of the SEC. I mean, I think you've got to find us a running back or two running backs that can make some plays in the run game.
I agree, and I was glad to hear Coach Kelly say that he thought they did not commit to it. Like there was not a commitment. Only 11 carries outside of Jaden. Even if you had one running back, 11 carries is not enough to kind of get that guy going. So,
and it was interesting that you bring that up because I agree. Because watching it, watching the press conference on Monday, that was one of the things I applauded was. Mm-hmm. They wanted to talk, and again, I'm not pointing at the media. I mean, they wanted to talk about this position group or this group of coaches, and he was like, guys, we could sit here for the next 5 hours and break down the mistakes. Everybody contributed to bad performance on Sunday, and I think that included his point about we didn't commit enough to the run. So, the other thing that I think we all should sit back and remember is that I know there were higher expectations going into this season because it was year number 2 and they won 10 games and all the stuff that happened last year, which should never be diminished because they did do it. And we've got plenty of time to have another great season. And there were some wholesale changes, personnel and schematically, as that season went along last year. So, I guess that's what I'm looking forward to Saturday is will we see personnel changes? Will we see them change the way they handle the passing game defensively on the back end? I think that the proof is in the pudding that they are willing to, hey, this wasn't working, we're going to go do this. So that's what gives me hope.
What does Maason Smith provide?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, football is such a team sport. We talk about it all the time that there's other sports where one single person inserted onto the roster, especially basketball, makes a world of difference. You got five people out there that are making things happen.
Right.
But he truly is one of those guys that I think makes a huge impact on what they do defensively. Just simply because I thought Mekhi Wingo was one of the few bright spots. I thought he looked a little sluggish at the end of the game, but he really had some solid play in the middle of that defensive line. Now suddenly you got a guy like that's just a giant human being that's also super athletic. In Maason Smith out there, because I thought for the most part, I called Omar Spate's name a lot because he was in on tackles. I think he had 8 tackles in the game, but it wasn't as if the linebackers were on display. And I know much has been made about Harold Perkins, and frankly, I don't get paid to be a coach. I got no business being a coach, so I can't speak to what he should be doing and shouldn't be doing. But I do think Maason Smith will allow both Omar and whatever they use Harold Perkins in, just because he's going to be able to disrupt things at the line of scrimmage, along with Mekhi Wingo and Swenson, who I thought was another bright spot off the edge. So, you throw Maason in there, I think that defensive line becomes much more difficult to handle if you're the opposing team.
The radio show from last week is all over national podcast, all over national news right now. Jacques asked Brian Kelly about it on Monday about a comment he made on the radio show last week. Ultimately, him saying that LSU is going to beat Florida State. Can you take me to those environments? You've done millions of these things. How different are those rooms? When he said that last week, did you think that it was going to cause a reaction?
No, because
take me into those environments.
He spent probably 2 or 3 minutes. He and I were discussing the fact that I was impressed at how efficient they were, and I thought they were super efficient last year. And as we all know, they were still putting it all together. This year, they were even more efficient, which I thought was incredible. And he was talking about how, our staff kind of knows where they're supposed to be and what to do. We've got guys who are returning that can help the younger guys understand this is what we do at this time and this is why we do it and what the expectations are. And then he kind of pivoted and said, hey, and by the way, we're taking, I don't remember the numbers, 14 freshmen and 14 transfers playing in an LSU uniform for the first time. And I think he thought to himself, wait a minute, that sounds like I'm making an excuse, which is not what he was doing. He was just pointing out that there are some new guys here. And he made that remark to the crowd because they're all there because they love LSU.
Right.
And he was joking that, hey guys, I'm not saying we're not going to go over there. Our plan is still to go over there if we have 100% freshmen. Our plan is to go play. So literally, I think it was Friday, so the show was on Thursday, and I got to be honest, and I'm not going to pull any punches here. The SEC network started this all. because they took the one phrase without any context on either side.
When I saw the quote,
and I thought,
there's
here
no
we
way.
have the network, which again I know it's ESPN, so they're interested in clicks like we all are.
Sure.
But that's what got this all started, and that was completely not the spirit, nor the tone, nor even the message of what he was trying to say. It was to get a rah-rah from the crowd, which is what we do. And so it was throughout the weekend. I thought it's to quote Willie Shakespeare, much ado about nothing. But apparently, that's the age we live in now.
And I think you have to factor in the person who did it whenever it comes to the national perspective on what Brian Kelly is perceived by.
Yeah, I mean,
could have been any other coach. It probably is thrown away.
Maybe so. I don't know. I just that's when the get off my lawn guy comes out in me, because I've said it on your show 1,000 times. Twitter provides news. Social media provides quicker news. You're not waiting for the newscast at such and such time. You can get it whenever it happens. That's a good thing, I guess. But 99% of what's on Twitter is a complete cesspool. Nonsense. Stuff that doesn't matter, stuff that's not accurate, and stuff that is twisted to create a buzz.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not happy with the SEC network. And sure. Who knows who that is that handles their account? But I mean, I saw it and I thought, that's not anything. That was not directed at Florida State or Coach Norvell. It was
clickbait.
It was again. You asked me, did I think of it when it was said? I didn't even.
Yeah.
There's been times on that radio show where something has been said that has caught my attention, and that I thought, "Oops,
let's get back to football."
I mean, really,
Let me steer this thing.
And I'm not. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. But I know it's been made into a big deal. But I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
There's been times where things I thought, because I'm up there, and somebody's going to ask me, my bosses or other people who are invested in the program and the university, what's happening. That's not a good look for us.
Sure.
That one wasn't. That didn't even register with me, and that's why it gets me a little upset that. It was a big nothing.
I thought about
burger.
you the whole weekend when it was coming. Every time I was like, Blair's probably like fuming at this.
I can't believe that this is happening.
This is unreal.
Yeah, and again, I'll keep saying it. The fact that it came from the network that's supposed to promote this conference, whoever handles that, bad job. That's a F. F.
What's it like going home, like for the first time? How cool is it to kind of?
Oh, it's always great. This sounds like not true, but it's totally true. Like every time we go and get ready for kickoff and you get in our booth and you look down there, it's one of the great booths that we work out of, truly. And I'm appreciative to everybody at LSU because we're, I guess, 45, 46-yard line, middle of the field. And most places we go to now, they keep pushing us closer to the end zone.
Yeah, right.
Auburn, we're actually in the end zone, which is hard to call a game from that vantage point. But so the truth is, it's great. And every time we get in there, I get goosebumps, and it won't be any different this coming Saturday. And it really doesn't matter who we're playing. It's awesome to be there. The atmosphere, as everybody knows, on campus is incredible to be a part of. I'm not a morning person. I don't want to give a secret out that nobody knew, but I love Saturday morning, no matter what time kickoff is, because I can't wait to get to campus. And I get there, 6 o'clock game, I'll be there probably at 11 a.m. and just
take it all in.
Yeah, just take the sights and sounds. So it's a lot of fun.
Do you tailgate? Do you walk
No,
around? Do you
no.
walk around? I don't mean tailgate, like in a tailgate.
Yeah, I'm
But
usually on top of the
Take
tailgate.
a bullet for Brian Kelly right here.
Couple of funnels. Yeah. No.
You and Fred?
But no, I do walk
My
around.
son's a freshman this year.
I do walk around. Because we've got a lot of stuff going on
for
there
sure,
at,
man.
between the PMAC and Tiger Stadium, and our show, a pregame show with Hunt and the guys originates there. So there's a lot of stuff you go check and make sure is good to go. But yeah, that's the beauty of, hey, I'm doing a little work, but I also get to be here, and you get to see fans, and you get to interact with them, and they'll pull you over and Not that they don't try to get you to grab the funnel, but it's just
one, man, just one.
I've said it, and I'm not. This isn't groundbreaking news either. I've said it before when people who haven't been here, who have great traditions wherever they are at whatever school they're at. I'm like, yeah, man, there's some great traditions anywhere you go for Saturday football, but there's none. People can argue what's best, and that's all going to be interpretive in the eye of the beholder. But there's no place like Baton Rouge and LSU's campus on game day. It's unique to itself, and that's what's fun about going to be there this Saturday.
Check him out, 6 o'clock kickoff this Saturday, which means, is it 6 or 6:30?
6:30. We'll crank it up at 4:30 at Tiger One. So come by and see Hunt and Brandon and Marlon, and who knows, I may be there.
LSU Sports Radio Network. Remember, weekly, brought to you by Carriages, our friends over at Carriages over in the Jefferson Shopping Center, Jefferson Highway Shopping Center. Go see Will and the crew. Chris has the alternate Tiger logo on this morning in a pullover. Every game day, you can see what his fit is going to be. Compliments of our friends over at Carriages. They got great selections of LSU gear over there, man, and it's not like anything that you see anywhere else. I know that's why Blair loves it. That's why we go over there and shop all the time. Check out Carriages. Great to see you, bro.
And this is the Jay Johnson model here. This is what Jay rocks just about every day. Right. I think he loves his pullover, and I know why.
Yes. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, every Thursday here, and he'll be with you on Saturday calling the action between LSU and Grambling in the home opener. Next, it's Shea Dixon checking in on a Thursday on the Jordy Culotta Show. Good to see you.
You got it, guys. Have a great weekend.
We'll be right back after this. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us.
Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot. Oh, yeah. Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, the roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com. If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on.
Did you do it?
Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
A Thursday edition of Jordy Culotta Show is always built by our friends over at R&B Builders. Remember, check them out online at rmb-builders.com. Shea Dixon here with us on this Thursday. Huge recruiting weekend for the Tigers, as they'll have a lot of people in town. Let's talk all about it with our friend Shea here on this Thursday morning. Shea D, good morning. How are you?
What it do?
All right, so great stuff on On3. The podcast was fantastic. You can find all the coverage online at on3.com and follow Shea on Twitter at Shea Dixon, who covers it for On3. Wrap it up. Tell me what you saw. I don't want to spend a lot of time on Florida State.
I'm about to fall asleep right here. That CB got this seat warm for me.
Yes,
This is comfortable. I need guests before me. That helps.
That's right.
You sure it's not BK seat?
Oh, yeah. A little warm. I try not to make any massive, sweeping general,
Sure. You're not like us.
Is that what we've been doing?
Like this show. I mean,
I
very
try to
emotional.
keep it even keeled. I understand that Florida State will be one of the best teams they play. I understand that if I say that to someone, is there solace to take in an LSU fan hearing, okay, we're 24 points than the worst, than the best team we play? Does that make you feel any better? No, but I'm not sure if they were 24 points worse. Unraveled on a half. The thing I left the game the most shocked, like they couldn't run the ball last year. Am I surprised they couldn't run it this year? No. They were such an elite second half team. They were so great at halftime adjustments. They were always the ones who came out in the second half as the team that looked better. So for that to be flipped to that degree was wild to me.
Mm-hmm. What'd you make of the quarterback?
I mean, it's down the list for me. It's back to that reality of like, okay, if you didn't have him, what would happen? He was your only positive rushing yards. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Nussmeier too. They could put him in there. I'm not sure what would be all that different, but maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They can't run the football.
Yeah. It's wild, right? I mean,
Like, if Nussmeier gets in there, that takes away the quarterback run threat. Now they really know you can't run the football. That blows my mind.
Is that more on running back, or did you think offensive line? Because
Kelly always seems to think it's offensive line. I'd have to think it has to do some running back. It's got to be a combination.
Yeah,
right?
I would just mention that because a lot of people have been talking about freshmen, and you obviously covered Lance Hurd, and I didn't know if that was going to be maybe a quick fix you see sooner rather than later.
I guess if number 70 is getting called out on the interwebs, I mean, they were saying it on the broadcast that after the very first drive that Jared Verse came over and was like, we're going to whoop that side. Like, no chance.
I mean, if you rewatch the film, you could see like a couple of the runs is kind of on the running back. It's not on the.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I just was more interested in Shea because he covered him in recruiting, and it's one of the buzzwords that's been going around is Lance Hurd might be getting some runs.
Yeah,
because
and they showed it in scrimmages. Right tackle, Emery's more of a natural guard. He'd be the right guard, and that's an option. I would be floored if Zalance wasn't out there getting some reps this weekend.
Were you surprised to not see more of new faces last week?
No.
Okay.
I think they must have viewed it as a spot to where it's let's go with the vets, the guys we trust. So no, I wasn't too surprised.
So going into the weekend, they caught some bad news with Dominic McKinley that he was pledging to Texas A&M. I know that you were.
God, that was only a week. Yeah, okay.
Right. I mean, that hadn't even been a week tomorrow. I know that you were projecting that he was not going to end up at LSU. In fact, I believe you said here on your last Wednesday that you had him going to A&M. He pledges to A&M, and LSU misses another defensive lineman in state. What's going to happen here with defensive line recruiting? Because it feels like now, after Simmons after missing on McKinley and looking at the board, how close are they to desperate here?
You've got to get a couple of guys, and they do. They have Demarion Johnson and Ahmad Burrow. You've got to get a couple more. Gabe Rellifer's really good at Evangel. He's going to visit this weekend, but he's committed to A&M. So you try to flip him by signing day. Obviously, they'll work on McKinley. And there's other guys around the state. Jordan Guidry at Ruston is committed to Tulane, but he's got a lot of schools watching him right now because they're probably the best defense in the state, arguably. Ahmad Burrow's on it, so LSU will have a close eye on him. There'll be guys that pop up, but to me it all comes back down to a lack of continuity across 7-8 years now of you've had the same D-line coach one time. That was Bill Johnson 5 years ago. So if every year you're bringing someone in to recruit kids the offseason before their senior year, that's does not bode well in recruiting. These kids blow up as sophomores. By juniors, they have great relationships with everyone. By the offseason of their senior year, they're trying to decide, not trying to get to know somebody. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality of the situation they're in.
So it seems in talking to people up in around LSU that they've put a lot of put a lot of emphasis on Relaford, Gabe Relaford, the big defensive tackle
He's
from
a
up north.
very good player, and he will be here this weekend. And he had called LSU his dream school, all that, but they didn't offer till over the summer. And at that point, he was already committed to A&M. So kind of playing from behind the 8 ball, which you don't want to be doing. And I think that's why they're going to make a lot more of a concerted effort to offer kids in Louisiana early.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait till camp, not wait until this, that, or the other. If we can get verified measurements, if we can see the kid in person, if we've seen his film, and we feel good about it, we're making the move, which is what you have to do that.
Dominic McKinley, is it over?
No, nothing's over till signing day, but he's so quiet. He doesn't want to do much with his recruitment that he's not going to make any other visits that's not potentially driving 30 minutes down the road to LSU. Like, he's not going to give Ohio State another look or Texas or Oklahoma. So the only school that will have a shot is LSU. We'll see how it goes.
How much of a priority was he? How much of a priority does he remain?
Big. Let's not sugarcoat it. They wanted him.
Yeah.
I mean, they offered him back in January. They hosted him multiple times. They fought to get him back for the Bayou Splash, and it just got away from him. And again, you can look at every single year throughout the past 20 years. They've never gotten all of the top 10. It hasn't happened. They've never swept. Typically, it's been Bama who gets in there, A&M most recently, now Texas the past couple of years. So they're not expected. I don't expect them to get everyone each year. What stings is that McKinley's the top ranked player in the state. Mm-hmm. You know, Arch was last year. Well, you weren't getting Arch anyways. Well, Derek Williams was too. Well, he went to Texas as well. So you don't want to. You always want to get 8, 9, 10 of the best players in the state, and they do that. What stings is not when you lose maybe the 10th or 11th best player, but when you lose the guys who are ranked 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And that's what you kind of want to reverse the trend of.
This is a big weekend in recruiting, right?
Yeah, no officials, but they will have Relaford, as I said. The Duncanville boys are coming back in, which then means they're on bye, which means are we keeping an eye on if Colin Simmons pops up on campus, because he had been originally set to visit this weekend. Now DeCorian Moore and Durham and them are coming over. We'll see if Colin Simmons pops up or not. A lot of commitments will be there. A lot of guys for next year will be there. And then some kids that they're kind of have an eye on for potential senior year offers. Bernard Causey, a corner over at John F. Kennedy in New Orleans. I mentioned Guidry at Ruston. So it'll be a nice mix. It'll be a nice mix of guys. But the watch will be to see if the Duncanville kids are coming, does Colin Simmons come? We'll see.
You think you will?
I don't know. I think that kid will do whatever he feels like doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see about it. But I know that right now DeCorian Moore and Caden Durham will be there.
DeCorian Moore is having a phenomenal start to his junior year.
He had
right?
an amazing first game. He'll put up some massive. I think he's already halfway to his totals from a year ago, and they won state, and he was the best receiver on the team. So he will have some, and he's only a junior. He's got 2 years of tearing it up. He will finish a 5-star, number 1 or 2 receiver in the country. Hold on tight.
Obviously, last week the defensive backfield is under the microscope. Wardell Mack's name pops back up for recruiting fans on where LSU stands with him, if they can make a late push here. What is the status of Mack and where LSU sits?
Yeah, he's committed to Florida, but he's more of a safety, and that's where LSU is recruiting him at. They like him at safety. I think your issue right now is corner, and that you have not recruited anybody to develop them, and now you're stuck in this cycle of relying on transfers. And Mekhi Garner and Bernard Converse bailed them out in a major way last year. Like, if you're not getting that from Deuce Chestnut and Zy Alexander, then there's going to be a fall-off. Mm-hmm. I mean, they returned 1 scholarship cornerback, LaTerrence Welsh. They signed 1 true corner, Jeremiah Hughes. They've been moving guys like Ashton Stamps from safety to corner. Like, that's not going to get it done. So they do have a very good corner class right now. They've got Andre Evans, Kai Bates, Juwan Johnson. These guys are all 4-stars. Wallace Foster at the nickel. So you've got guys, they're still going after others, but they don't even get here until next year. Like, you're going to be stuck in this cycle right now that ain't good for business. I mean, that's not DBU.
Help me out here. How did DBU get here? Was it simply like the Corey Raymond transition? They've just never been able to catch back up? Or how has it gotten to this point? Because for so long, I guess we took it for granted, they were rolling one superstar a year out. I mean, they always had that dude. Is it just the narrative has changed in recruiting, or it's just that's what happens when you change coaches?
I mean, it's a little of that's what happens when change coaches. We forget that for 2 years leading into when these guys would be on roster, they were a 500 football team. They had their first losing season since '99. They did not retain Raymond. Like, there was a lot in there that sort of makes you less than desirable, and now you're relying on Steeples to kind of pull you out of it. And that first class, he only signed one corner. Well, this class, he's loaded up on them. So they're moving in the right direction. We knew, anyone who was paying attention knew this would happen. I said it a million times. Right when he took this job, they didn't have any corners, so it was going to be a multi-year rebuild. Multi, you hope, means 2. It looks like it's going to go beyond that. They need some young kids on this team to step up. Ashton Stamps or whomever it is. You've got to start developing some young corners. That it looks so far from what the norm is that it's wild.
Yeah.
Is that why you think that Brian Kelly's made the decision already with Denver Harris to go from not dressed and not with the team to available?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what available means, though.
That's what I said, too.
What is?
But, I mean, that's better than not.
Can you help me out on this?
Not alive.
Not
when Harris
available.
gets on the field,
Unavailable.
where would he be in the pecking order of defensive backs?
Well, we thought he was supposed to be the best. I mean, coming out of high school, he's ranked higher than any kid they have on their roster at DB. Like, did he forget how to play football? Or is there so much going on that you just can't play? Like, if we let him get on the field, we're letting him get away with X, Y, and Z, and what does that message send to everyone else? To me, then why is he on the team?
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. I mean,
because I guess if you hear this, we have a standard, we have guys we recruit, they have to fit. Well, and then you take a risk on a Denver Harris, you're not ever going to play him. Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know all the details. He could be not living up to any end of the bargain. But if that were the case, then why is he on the team? Why are you leaving everyone guessing why your best player is on the bench? Not even on the bench. Didn't even travel. Not even on your 53-man.
Not in the team picture.
No. And he never got anything more than third-team reps in camp. He was never an 11-on-11. So, like, it's not like Brian Kelly's tricking us. Like, he didn't run first team all fall and then, like, disappear. They don't put him out there. So what's the word? Like, I doubt it's that he's not good at football. I have no other answer other than that. I have no clue. It's interesting.
What's it been like for coaches now that they've been able to visit and get on campuses? For people, I know that Frank Wilson was at that Acadiana,
yeah, they went down to the Acadiana game.
LCA game where Jawan Johnson just went.
He's so good.
Jeez. Where are they going to play him?
Corner.
Corner.
I think that they'll get more out on the road here. Like tomorrow night, they'll be out on the road some. And then as you get into the season, the bye week, everyone goes on the road. So you can only see kids twice. So you kind of split it up by checking some guys out early and then later on in the season.
Kobe Black, Chili asks, hashtag Ask Shea. Kobe Black, is he no longer interested in LSU?
Yeah, he was going to take an official this weekend. He's not anymore. I think that they rightfully realized they would go down a road where ultimately a Texas school would step up. I think he's going to Texas. So if you sense that interest isn't there, don't be done with it then. Don't chase this down to where you sit in a Final Two and you don't get him when you could be putting that focus on other kids.
How many LSU interested prospects will be on the sideline of Alabama, Texas this weekend?
You know, I didn't see that visitor list yet, but it's interesting. LSU and Bama are not going for a lot of the same kids this year. It's more LSU, Texas, and A&M. So being at Bama, it's going to be most of their kids. So I wouldn't think it's going to be a massive crossover. Like if that game were in Austin, there would be a lot of kids there that LSU is after. But more so they're being at Bama, it's not as much, which is, I know sounds weird, but just with how things are unfolding now, Texas and A&M are becoming LSU's competition for more guys than Bama.
Is that NIL?
Geographic, I think. And Texas coming to the SEC allows them to have that pitch. Like they were losing kids a lot because it was like, pitch? We got the SEC pitch, y'all got a Big 12 pitch, and that's why they're like doing all they can to leave the conference. So now that they have that pitch, it puts them in it with more kids.
What's coming up on On3 for game day coverage as far as being at home? You guys did a great job on the road last week.
Checking out all these kind of recruits react. We didn't do it last week. We didn't have much of a reaction from recruits that I don't think anybody wanted to hear from. But this will be a good game because a lot of the recruits get to see the young guys get in, and obviously a couple Louisiana schools. And, we'll kind of get a feel for what everybody thinks. And this 24 class is shaping up to where they only have 4 or 5 more guys they'll probably add. So a lot of the focus is turning to next year. Keelan Moses and all those kids.
Shea Dixon,
juniors.
On3 from the Bengal Tiger. You can find him there and on, as always, on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Appreciate you fighting the traffic, dog.
Dog, we good. I'm glad I saw CB here.
Yeah.
He's always got a story or two.
That's right. That's right. All right, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Brought to you daily by RMB Builders.
Oh, hit me.
Hey, Chino. Put my headphones up, bro. Right there. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. It's the hottest show around. We ain't got to flex. Call up G, we get it done. We earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in. Where they going next? Throw up the L's. Now we lit. Band playing Nick. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live. Mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta.